This is a Hot Pie Original.
Well, I didn't see this one coming. Associated Press headline is Beto O'Rourke considering bid for Texas governor. No way. No, you're kidding. You mean he's running for an office again? Didn't see that one at all. Man, what an outsider he is. The next thing we're going to hear is that Greg Abbott's going to be on Fox News. This is breaking news. It's reported by the Associated Press. Former Congressman, U.S. Rep, and 2020 Democratic presidential hopeful Beto O'Rourke is considering a run for governor of Texas, although he has not formally mobilized a campaign or set a timeline. You know what he needs to happen first? You know what call needs to happen right away? Because I think we have exactly what we predicted is starting to set up. Yeah, it's not a big shock that Beto would say, hey, I'm in. I believe, and you're certainly entitled to your opinion, but I believe this might be a balloon sent up in a very nice way that says, Wooderson, go away, please. Wooderson would be Matthew McConaughey. If you're measuring favorability and popularity and early polling data, it's Wooderson 20, O'Rourke 0. Every time we turn around, Wooderson, including a NASCAR race at COTA, guess who starts the race? It wasn't O'Rourke. You know, Greg Abbott's, he's not going to do that stuff. He's got to talk to the Fox News crowd. But I wonder if this is the signal, hey, Wooderson, McConaughey, I know you're kumbaya. I know you're famous. I get it. I need you to go ahead and get out of the picture now, please. Otherwise, this gets pretty weird pretty fast. And it turns into a mess. The cheering sound you would hear, oddly enough, I think, we could argue this, but oddly enough, I think the cheering sound would be, let's assume, when Greg Abbott goes on Fox News in the next 20 minutes to talk about guns, let's assume whoever wants to be governor in the state of Texas with an R next to their name, that cheering sound you hear is them cheering on Wooderson to stay in the race. This, for Beto O'Rourke, would be his third election cycle in a row as a candidate. He hasn't won too much. He tries hard. He's talked about a lot, but he's not winning a whole lot. So he challenged Ted Cruz in the Senate in 2018, then had a presidential bid in 2020, which is pretty interesting itself. I really would like to get him on the show. And one of the things that would be interesting is, how do you go? I mean, look, here's a guy. And I think now we're learning maybe it wasn't so much about Beto O'Rourke as it was what a jackass people think Ted Cruz is. But I myself included thought that Beto O'Rourke had no chance against Ted Cruz. He came awfully close. That right there launched Beto O'Rourke. In a very, very red state, this guy came out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere, and almost beat Ted Cruz. And nobody saw it coming. I think that's because people just don't like Ted Cruz. I think it's more that. Then Beto O'Rourke sort of jumps off that, his popularity, thinking, here's a young, good-looking guy, smart, got some energy, and he took Ted Cruz to the final bell. Surely he's got a chance to be president, and that thing flamed out in no time. It didn't work at all. The brand didn't translate at all. And it wasn't just because he was acting weird and jumping up on counters all the time in Iowa. It just, the brand didn't translate. There is some weird, and I think political marketing is pathetic. Anyone who's ever studied business, you would never market products the way candidates are marketed. But there is an interesting study in how it is these brands fade so fast. Because the fading of Beto O'Rourke as a presidential candidate, to me, is very similar to the fading of Chris Christie. Once very popular, once sort of the next one. Chris Christie, and I know he's fat, and I know there's a thing about him being fat and all that. Chris Christie was a very popular governor of New Jersey. Granted, some stuff happened, but that brand faded quickly too. I don't know the reason for Beto O'Rourke's brand fading so quickly. So here he comes back for more, doing what we all expected. Greg Abbott wants to be president. Greg Abbott's going to act like D. Trump. And now the job seemingly is Beto's. Popular guy in the state of Texas, a guy with some charisma, a guy who could win over a state that is changing demographically. All the stuff is set up, except here comes Wooderson. Freaking Wooderson is derailed. This guy could go 0 for 4 in elections, and it's going to be because of Wooderson.
Say, man, you got a joint?
No, not on me, man.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
So Father's Day is coming up. You're doing the gift boxes.
Yep.
So here's something that's certainly not a tie or a sweater or a pair of socks. Not a bad idea.
Well, I think it's great if you don't know what to get your dad. I mean, get him some hot sauce. That way he can prove how much of a man he is, right? And this hot sauce will go great, and your dad will love it. So I think it makes a great gift box. You can go to our website and find those there. It come in packs of 4. It's a great box you just give to your dad and say, listen, here, Dad, thanks for being my dad. And it's not that sock that's just going to go in a drawer. It's not that gift card that's going to go in a wallet, never be used again. It's actually something he can share with his friends. And so I think it's a great idea.
All right, order a box now. It's atxhotsauce.com, atxhotsauce.com. He's got a Wooderson problem. He really does. So what happens now? Let me put on my $7 glasses and let's follow this. It's pretty interesting politically. So, I do think there's a series of questions. One, let's assume this is true. I don't think this is surprising. I think we can assume that he wants to be in. The path has been pretty clear for some time. The timing of this thing seems to be mapped out. He thought perfectly. Question. You're O'Rourke and you make this announcement soon. Do you make a phone call or have you made a phone call? Hey, Matt. Love Dallas Buyers Club, love Magic Bike, whatever. I need you to do me a favor, man. I need you to get the heck out of here. Okay? I need you to stop that stuff. I need to stop that kumbaya. I need you to get less attention because this is mine and this is all I've ever worked for. This is all I've ever dreamed about. And so could you please go away? Could you go away and then hang out with me? Is that the first phone call you make? Because the Democratic Party in the state of Texas, this could not have felt very good for Beto O'Rourke or anybody for that matter. The head of the Democratic Party just, 5 or 6 days ago said we would welcome Matthew McConaughey. If we think he's got a chance to win, of course we'll take him. I mean, Democrats in the state of Texas, they've been dreaming about, the dream doesn't come true, dreaming about this opportunity for some time. That is a tainted Republican that is attached to D. Trump, acting like a knucklehead in a state that is changing dramatically. They have been waiting for someone to be popular. They've been waiting for someone to be charismatic. They've been waiting for someone not to be a rural, angry white guy, and they thought they had a chance. But the head of the Democratic Party already said, Matt, come on, Wooderson, let's go. That could not have felt good if you're Beto. So, one, do you say, Matt, you got to throw your support behind me, or I need you to be quiet, or both, if you can. You got to get him out of the way. Because do you really have a chance? Then the next question is about Wooderson. It's about McConaughey. One, does he run? Two, does he say, I'm a Democrat? Or does he say, I'm an independent? If he says, I'm a Democrat, then Beto O'Rourke has all kinds of problems now. He has to be a jackass. He has to be a jackass to McConaughey, and that's not going to work very well. So McConaughey either has to get out for Beto O'Rourke, or he has to say, Beto O'Rourke can be a D, so-and-so can be an R, and I'm going to be an I. I'm independent, man. I'm kumbaya. I'm the kumbaya candidate, so I'm on my own, and we got a 3-person race, and whoever the Republican is, it could be a squirrel. Okay? Whoever that is, they win. A squirrel might win anyway. But if you have McConaughey, the independent, or whatever, the kumbaya. I will not say independent. McConaughey is kumbaya. C. He's going to be the C candidate. The love and kumbaya. But if you have McConaughey in the race, whoever the R is, it doesn't matter. It could be a full-on redneck nut job. They win. Correct? Agree? Because that vote is split. So it is now really interesting what, if in fact this is true, and we can assume that's the case, and I think he has to do this, and he has to do this now because I really think he needs Matthew McConaughey to say, buddy, either I'm going to run against you or I need your help, man, because you're going to screw this up for me, and I got a problem with that. If McConaughey is going to be a Republican, then it gets even more interesting because that's going to be a dumpster fire. If he were really to do that, and he really put an R next to his name, his first appearance at the Bell County Expo with Molly Hatchet playing in the background is going to be a bunch of Confederate flag wavers, and they're going to hate his guts. He can't do it. Then you get to the interesting part, and that is, oh yeah, so who's the R in this equation? It can't be McConaughey. It won't be McConaughey. So who is the R in this equation? Now, a tip for Beto O'Rourke. Start talking about weed. Start it now, man. I think you're crazy not to. You're crazy. I think the fact that you announce and you say one of the first things I'm going to push is that we legalize marijuana. No, I'm not an advocate. I'm saying that if you want to win something other than the blue hairs in rural Texas, you're not going to win anyway. I don't understand why you don't start pushing the issue. You have every financial argument behind you. The first thing that comes to the table, don't talk about guns, don't talk about Confederate flags, talk about weed, legalizing. It won't happen, and you're not going to get your wish, but you need to talk about it. You need to cut through the clutter, and that's the first thing. Jump up on a counter, do that crazy stuff you do, and talk about legalizing. First thing. You need to shove the blue hairs all the way to the Republican. You need to cut off McConaughey at the legs so he doesn't win over everybody under the age of 45. And you better seize the day, and that's the way to do it. You won't get it legalized. It won't pass. You'll be criticized, but it will separate you, and you will cut through the clutter.
Jeff Ford is very smart.